This is the final result. The easiest way to raise the rear of the Transalp, the 700 or the 650, is to just flip this link upside down. Just take this part out and flip it upside down. This is the place where the shock is attached. And just by doing that on both models, you will raise the rear suspension of the bike by approximately between 8 and 10 centimeters, which in my opinion is way too much, because then you have to match the front. That will be very complicated with all the brake tubes and everything, and also the bike will be extremely high and difficult to maneuver in the city or even off-road. And also the transmission chain will work in a very weird position and will give dangerous reactions when opening or closing the throttle. So I don't like that option. So let's see what I did previously on my Transalp 650 and what I'm going to do also on my actual 700. And first, some information. These are 3 shocks from 3 different Transalps. So on the right, it's a shock coming from a Transalp 650, and in the middle it's from a 700 before 2010, and this one is from a Transalp after 2010, Transalp 700. So they have exactly the same measures, they have exactly the same travel, the same length, the fixing points are the same. There's no difference between the 3. But what is really strange is that the 3 of them have different references. Everyone have a different reference, and even if you look at a Honda parts catalog, you will find that every one of these bikes have a different reference. I have absolutely no idea what's the difference. So if someone knows, please leave the information in the comments, because I don't know what the difference. I guess it's settings, inner settings, or maybe the oil is different. I don't know. But from outside, they are exactly similar. Here we have 2 shocks from Transalp 650. On the left, it's the first shock I had on the bike, which after dozens of thousands of kilometers of very hard off-road just died on a trail in Morocco. So yeah, it lasted a long time until it started to leak oil through the seal of the shaft. So I bought a used one, and I'm using now both of them to show you the difference and how to increase the height by modifying the lower fixing point. This is the main difference between the 2. As you may see on the video, this is the stock part, which is screwed to the shaft of the shock, and here you can see the modified one. What we just did is to weld a very large nut on top of the part with the same thread as the part to screw it on the shaft, and above that large nut we put also a large washer, so to distribute better the pressure of the spring on the lower fixing point. So the increase in height of the shock is approximately 10 millimeters, and that translates on the rear of the bike in a lift of about 40 millimeters at the rear. So I'm putting this part on the shock I bought for my Transalp 700, and for that you need first to depress the spring as much as you can by unscrewing these 2 parts, these 2 adjusters, and then you need to use a special tool to compress a little bit the spring a little bit more. Here you have. I use that tool that I have. So you have access to a nut that is welded to the shaft, so you can lock it in place, so you can unscrew the lower fixing point. I already did that, so now I'm showing you how is this part and how it is fixed to the shock. It's just unscrew. This is a part that goes under the spring, and now you can see the bolt that is directly on the shaft, and that's the one you need to lock so you're able to unscrew this part. I'm going to clean it, take the rust out, and respray it before putting it back on my 700 shock. Now you can see very clearly the difference between the stock part on this new shock and the one that was modified. I hope you can see it very clearly now. Yeah, it's very clear. That's 10 millimeters difference, which will mean 40 millimeters raise in the rear of the bike. So now let's install it on the new shock. Okay, so now we are ready to take the stock part from the new shock. I first took the measurement of the preload of the spring, so I'm able to put it back like it was. I will then make some adjustments once the shock is back on the bike. Here you can see I unscrew the upper screws to move the spring as much as I can up, and I'm using the tool to compress the spring a little bit, so I have access to the nut that lock the shaft, so you're able to unscrew the fixing part. And for that you need a 22 millimeters spanner. Now that the shaft is locked, you can use a lever to unscrew that part and be able to put the new one. So now let's see the final result with the modified part. Okay, so this is the final result. A shock that is 10 millimeters longer, and that will raise the bike at the rear around 40 millimeters. Now let's put it back on the bike. Here you have. Now it's time to match the front suspension with the rear, but that will be in the next video, so subscribe.